Questions for reflection. In our first reading from the great Hebrew prophet Isaiah, we heard this powerful affirmation: Yahweh called me when I was in the womb. Before my birth, he had pronounced my name. In this context, the prophet is not only referring to his own vocation to be the messenger of the Lord, he was, as the whole book which bears his name, pointing them to the Messiah who is to come, Jesus the Christ, whose passion, death, and resurrection we will soon celebrate. He continues, and I quote, "And now Yahweh has spoken, who formed me in the womb to be his servant, to bring back Jacob to him and to reunite Israel to him. I shall be honored in Yahweh's eyes, and my God has been my strength. He said, it's not enough for you to be my servant, to restore the tribes of Jacob and bring back the survivors of Israel. I shall make you a light to the nations, so that my salvation may reach the remotest parts of earth." But the message also underscores the unbroken and unchangeable teaching of the Scriptures and the Christian Church, that life begins at conception. All of us were formed by the Lord in our mother's wombs and created in his image with an inherent and undeniable dignity and a right to life. That right to life is the foundation for every human right. The language often used in the political discussion surrounding legalized abortion reveals an Orwellian newspeak, which is polluting our public discourse. We should never use phrases such as abortion rights. They must be rejected. Abortions do not have rights. Only human persons have rights. Every procured abortion is the taking of innocent human life and is always and everywhere intrinsically immoral. Without the right to life, there are no other rights, and the infrastructure of rights is thrown into jeopardy. Human rights are goods of human persons. When there's no human person to exercise them, all the rhetoric extolling them is nothing but empty air and sloganeering. Do we defend the fundamental right to life as believing, baptized Catholic Christians? We must. Children in the womb have no voice to be heard except our own. The psalmist picks up the theme in the 71st Psalm. David prays, "On you I've relied since my birth, since my mother's womb you've been my portion, the constant theme of my praise." Medical science confirms what the natural law and the unbroken teaching of the Scriptures and the Christian tradition affirms. The child in the womb must be respected, protected, and welcomed. Of course, for the Christian, the profound truth of this, in its most perfectly and wonderfully revealed way, is in Jesus Christ. From the very moment Jesus became incarnate, his saving mission of redeeming and recreating began. The Incarnation is the heart of the mystery of the Christian faith. The God who made the whole universe and created man out of the dust of the earth took on our humanity. He lived in the first home of every human person, his mother's womb. There was a Redeemer in the womb of Mary. The second person of the Blessed Trinity, the Word of the Father, was an embryonic human person, a fetus, a child in the womb. Of course, that person, from the moment of conception, as the ancient creeds affirm, was and is true God and true man. In the light of this mystery, every human pregnancy, every womb, every child in the womb was forever elevated beyond the dignity he or she already possessed. And the extreme evil of every procured abortion is made even more obvious and profane. This Redeemer in the womb, Jesus, began his saving work in utero, and he identifies with every child in the womb. During Holy Week, when we remember his voluntary gift of his own life for the salvation of the world, let us remember it all began in the womb. Do we know that we were formed by the Lord in our mother's womb? Do we do all we can to protect our youngest neighbors in the womb? In this sobering, disturbing account of the denial and betrayal of the Lord in the gospel passage from St. John, appointed for this Tuesday of Holy Week, we're presented with the account of Judas, and we read, "After Judas had taken the bread, Satan entered him." We also know the devastation which resulted. Judas made the ultimate wrong choice in denying and betraying the Lord, and he ended up taking his own life. See Matthew 25:7. But we hear of another denial in this passage, that of Peter. After Jesus tells his beloved disciples, I shall be with you only a little longer, Peter says, I will lay down my life for you. But alas, Jesus knew that Peter would deny him and predicts the same. So what's so different about Judas and Peter? Notice their response. As the week progresses, we will hear the passion narratives. After Peter hears that cock crow, he's moved to repentance, and he's forgiven and restored. In fact, he's established by the Lord as the rock upon which the church would be established. Two men, two different choices, two different responses. Remember these words of the Catholic Catechism. Mortal sin is a radical possibility of human freedom, as is love itself. How will we exercise our freedom? Which way will we choose? The way of Judas or the way of Peter?